This hit me like a brick. I've studied this story many of times. I've read it, I've dissected it, but this morning it hit me a little bit different, right? So if you're a person right now and you're thinking like, hey, I want more, I want bigger, why aren't other opportunities opening up for me? I want to encourage you to help you realize that what you're doing that might be little right now might be the key to the bigger level, or it might be the exact key to the bigger door, and I'll tell you why. Story of my man David in the Bible, we've probably heard him slaying Goliath, but we probably don't realize something happened before he actually got to Goliath. Now, with this story, David has brothers. They're older than him, and he's the youngest. So in the story in chapter 16, 1 Samuel chapter 16, David is out, he's tending to sheep, right? He's a shepherd, he's tending to sheep, doing his work. His brothers are doing their work, they're doing something totally different. With this being said, David is tending the sheep, and they have what is called a sacrifice. The prophet Samuel is here to come and anoint the next king or the next leader. And he does the sacrifice, and he goes to the older son. Older son looks really, really good, looks the part, and it's like, no, he's not the one. He goes down the line, and then he begins to ask the father, hey, do you have any other kids? Because none of these kids are meant for this position. They don't fit the description that's ahead. They don't fit the next level. He goes and says, yeah, I got one, like he's ready, he's in the down there tending the sheep. So automatically we see some father issues. We also see that David is probably not one of the sons that's preferred. David gets to the ceremony, to the sacrifice, and ends up, he is the king, but he's like 17 years old, so he's not the king yet, but he's in training somewhat to be the king. He's in training to get to the next level. Anoints him, he tells him he's going to be king, and David goes back and he's tending the sheep. Now you would think like he gets this promise, he gets this word, and he's going to be like, you know what, since I'm the king, all y'all serve me right now, all y'all bow down to me. But he goes back to tending sheep. The next couple days goes ahead, and Saul, the current king, is having like some mental crisis going on. It's a demonic attack, and he's searching for someone to come and play the harp to drive out that demonic spirit and the demonic attack. And someone randomly says, hey, we know somebody, he's Jesse's son, he plays the harp, he's good looking, he's skillful, he could come and do that for you. And that person is David. So now we see like David's not even like brought to the dinner or the sacrifice with his brothers, but then he gets caught there. David's not even talking to the king or anybody, but someone remembers the skill that he has to solve this problem, and they call him up there. You have to be careful to not dilute whatever you do and how you do it, because you never know who knows you and who can put your name in the right place. David gets to the king's palace, and he plays the harp, and it drives out the demonic spirit. So now the king is back to normal. The king can sleep. And then now the king goes, I want you to be my servant now. I want this to be your job. So now he goes from being a shepherd to now he's serving the king, playing his harp, right? He's multi-talented, multifaceted. Here's where the story it opens up more. There's an enemy, or there's a problem called Goliath. Look at it as a problem called Goliath. And Goliath is out taunting the army of Israel. David's brothers are in the army of Israel. The king Saul is also leading the army of Israel. But no one's doing anything. This behemoth, shack-looking giant is taunting them day and night. The Bible talks about he was taunting them for 40 days, right? And David goes to bring bread and cheese to his brothers because he's always serving. Like, he just serves. Like, anywhere he's at, he's going to serve. He brings the bread and cheese to his brothers. And his brother says something that got me. He says, I know why you're coming up here, because you're full of pride. Why aren't you back there tending to those little sheep of yours? So we know now his brother's a hater. We know now his brother's jealous, but he said something that caught me this morning. I was out, kid you not, brushing off my car. There was snow, and it hit me. Why aren't you out there tending to those little sheep? David lets him know that someone has covered me, so I can come and do this. And this is what happens next that blows my mind. David says, hey, who is this giant shouting out against the army of Israel? Basically, why hasn't anybody taken him down? And they're like, this is Saul. And someone slips and says, hey, the person who defeats him is going to get the king's daughter. His family's going to be free of taxes. And he's going to be sitting at the king's table. A bunch of stuff that comes up. David goes, I'll fight him. And everyone's like, yeah, you're crazy. Why are you going to do this? For some reason, somehow, David had the confidence to know I can do this. He talks about, hey, I fought a lion and I fought a bear with my bare hands. That's a bad boy. That's a bad boy. I fought them with my bare hands and I succeeded. Now, the king is like, all right, but put my armor on. And David's like, no, I haven't trained in that armor. I'm going to go out there with a slingshot and rock. He slays the giant. He gets the king's daughter. His family is free of taxes. Right? The same family that hated him. Same family that was jealous of him. And he gets to be closer to the king. He gets access to where he's going. But the whole thing is, don't look at what you're doing as little. And this is a word that encourages me. You never know when your turn is coming. You got to keep working until you physically see your turn come. And I don't know what gave David this ability to focus without any reward. He was just keeping the sheep. He was just doing what he had to do. I don't know how he learned how to play the harp so well. I don't know how he did these things, but he did it. And he did it with excellence. I want to encourage you today, whatever you're doing, whatever you're going towards, keep getting better at it. If it's making videos, if it's cleaning, if it's whatever it is, keep getting better at it. You never know the door that opens. The guy that told the king about David, he said he's skillful and he can do the job. David didn't go up there like, I don't know if I can do this. My confidence is low. He went there, did the job, and things opened up. So my word for you today, stay encouraged. Even in the little things, stay encouraged. Be great, guys. I'm out of here.